Empty your mind. Hello everyone. Welcome back to English Listening Practice. Today's story is called Empty Your Mind. This story will make you realize something very powerful, that sometimes our thoughts, fears, and doubts become so loud that they stop us from truly living. When your mind is full of worry, there's no space left for peace. But when you learn to empty your mind, even just for a moment, you open the door to clarity, strength, and freedom. So take a deep breath and listen closely. There was once a young boy named Eli, 17 years old, who lived in a small town surrounded by hills and forests. Eli was quiet, thoughtful, and always lost in his mind. His teachers called him smart, but his thoughts never stopped. What if I fail? What if people laugh at me? What if I'm not good enough? He wanted to be a painter, but every time he picked up his brush, he hesitated. He compared himself to others, doubted every stroke, and ended up painting nothing at all. His father often said, "Eli, you think too much." But Eli couldn't help it. His mind was like a room filled with noise, worries, fears, expectations, all shouting at once. And no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't find peace. One afternoon, Eli visited an old man who lived alone at the edge of the forest. People called him Mr. Kai, a retired art teacher who had once traveled the world. His small house was full of paintings, landscapes, faces, oceans, sunsets, all painted with such calm energy that they almost seemed alive. Eli asked shyly, "Sir, how do you paint without fear? How do you make it look so easy?" The old man smiled gently. "Easy." He laughed softly. "It's never easy. But it becomes natural when you learn the secret." "What secret?" Eli asked curiously. Mr. Kai pointed to his chest and said, "Empty your mind." Eli frowned. "Empty my mind? How can I paint if my mind is empty?" The old man stood up, handed Eli a cup, and began to pour tea. He poured and poured until the tea overflowed and spilled all over the table. "Stop. It's already full." Eli shouted. Mr. Kai smiled again. "Exactly. You can't pour new tea into a full cup. Your mind is the same. When it's full of fear, there's no space left for creativity, peace, or courage. Empty your mind, and you'll see clearly again." Eli didn't understand it completely, but those words stayed with him. The next morning, he walked deep into the forest, carrying his sketchbook. He sat beside a stream, listening to the sound of water. For a long time, he didn't draw. He just breathed. He noticed the soft wind brushing the leaves, the sunlight flickering between the trees, the smell of earth after rain. For the first time, he didn't think about being perfect. He didn't think about others, or failure, or the future. He just existed. Then, quietly, he opened his sketchbook. His hand began to move without planning, without worry. He drew the light on the water, the shadow of the trees, the shapes of stones beneath the stream. It wasn't perfect, but it was alive. As he finished, a strange peace filled his heart. He whispered to himself, "So this is what it means to empty your mind." From that day on, Eli visited the forest every morning. Sometimes he painted, sometimes he just sat and listened. The noise in his head began to fade. His hands moved freely. His art became honest, not beautiful in the traditional sense, but full of truth. Months later, he held his first small art exhibition in town. People were moved by his paintings, by their stillness, their calm, their depth. One woman said, "When I look at your art, I feel peace." Eli smiled quietly and said, "That's because I learned to paint with an empty mind." Years passed. Eli grew older, but he never forgot the lesson Mr. Kai had taught him. Whenever life became too heavy, whenever his heart filled with doubt, he would sit in silence, close his eyes, and breathe out every worry until his mind felt light again. He often told his students, the mind is like the sky. Clouds will come and go, but behind them, the sky is always clear. Don't chase the clouds. Be still and let them pass. One day, many years later, he returned to the forest and found the old teacher's house empty. Mr. Kai had passed away. But on his table, there was a note written in simple, shaky handwriting. The quiet mind sees truth. The noisy mind only sees fear. Eli smiled through tears. He walked to the stream, sat in the same place where he once struggled to draw, and whispered, "Thank you, teacher. My cup is finally empty." He closed his eyes, felt the wind against his face. And in that peaceful silence, he felt completely alive. Sometimes in life, we think too much, worry too much, and carry too much. We fill our minds with so many what-ifs that we forget to simply live. But when we let go, even for a moment, the world becomes simple again, and peace quietly returns. So remember this lesson. When your mind feels heavy, don't try to fight the noise. Just breathe, release, and empty your mind. That's where clarity, courage, and happiness begin. Thank you for listening to English Listening Practice. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe for more emotional and motivational stories. Stories that help you learn English through real feelings and life-changing lessons.